Good evening and welcome to NUFC Matters with me, Steve Wraith. It is Sunday and as always, myself and Holly Blades are here to discuss Newcastle United's last 7 days. And I noticed that you've got a new title, Holly.
Yeah, I do have a new title thanks to yesterday. Many weeks of trying to convince you that kebab pasties were the way forward. You weren't having any of it, and although you gave a performance to the camera, we all know that you secretly loved it.
Yes, as most of you know who tune in, we do end up having a little chat about food now and again. And I do have a video, although it's quite a long one, and I'm still trying to load it to the system. Might be able to play that a little bit later. But yeah, we did do the food challenge as promised at the Dog and Parrot yesterday with the kebab and chili pizza pasty, and it was we even got the general public involved, so we'll hopefully be able to watch that a little bit later. Before we get on to the serious matter of football, though, I do want to share this photograph, which I found on one of my friends' Facebook pages, Holly.
Oh my God. Is that beans?
Sunday dinner with baked beans.
Yeah, that's horrendous. I think that's probably more bad than your mixture of sauces.
I wouldn't have that, by the way. Apparently, my mate, who will remain nameless, actually said that it was because he didn't have any peas. And it wasn't him who made it, it was his mate who made it, and he didn't have any peas. That's why they went for beans.
It would have been better just with nothing. Like, why would you do that?
Yeah, it's so wrong, says John. You're not wrong at all, mate. That is horrendous. We finally found something we can agree on. Okay, we'll go straight to the chat because there's lots to talk about. And Jan gets in with an early joke. Tune are the strongest team for the moment as they are holding up the Premier League. Sorry, I had to get this in. Yes, Jan, we know, but we can't get any lower now. And yesterday was certainly a bit of a game changer, I felt. Certainly as far as going forward is concerned, still those problems at the back which need to be sorted. And Tom says, do you think Dubravka will be back in goal against Arsenal next weekend? Because I think Darlow made a few mistakes yesterday. Yeah, I saw the fallout. I think most of you realise now that Twitter is like a bit of a nightmare, especially when the game doesn't go for certain players, and I tend to keep out of that on a night time after a game. Now I tend to reflect the next day and put what I feel about it the next day. But yeah, Darlow got a bit of stick. Again, wasn't his finest hour, was it, Holly? And yeah, sad to say that he probably will find himself out of the team and Dubravka back in. I think that was the one surprise yesterday, that we didn't see Dubravka in at the start.
Yeah, it was horrendous yesterday. I thought he was the worst player on that pitch. Very little to say about him in terms of a positive kind of way. It's very unfortunate the way things have happened, because I think obviously he came in to replace Dubravka last season. He did terrific, and then he's came in this season and just hasn't been good throughout, I feel. We need Dubravka back massively. I've got kind of a theory that he's still not fully fit, because I think he hasn't been good for a while, Darlow, but he's still remaining in the starting 11. You'd think Dubravka's back to full fitness with him being on the bench, but I can't understand why he's not in that team, and I think you'd put him in at the drop of a hat if he was available. So I'm wondering, is there something wrong with him? He's just not quite fully there yet, which is a massive worry. I think we're going to have to consider signing a goalkeeper at some point, if not in January, in the summer, because Freddie Woodman didn't impress many of us, and then now Darlow's massively went downhill. Constantly coming off his line when literally the opposition in our box. I don't really understand what that's about. His legs are so far apart, and it's just very, very poor from him. And again, the defence didn't specifically help him out, but I think he does need to take a lot of responsibility for the goals conceded.
Yeah, it wasn't his greatest hour, wasn't his greatest performance, and I think Dubravka probably will find himself back in. Bernard says, now that good old Ollie has been freed from his contract to Man United, do you think they'll offer the position to Steve Bruce? Apparently did a wonderful job when he was here. Yeah, Sol Campbell's put Steve Bruce forward for it, Holly.
I don't think we'll see Steve Bruce at Manchester United, but I'd love to see him there. And I think, why not? The media would soon be on his back then, unlike constantly defending him week in, week out when he was at Newcastle.
Yeah, I would agree. I can't see him going to Manchester United, but it's always good to get a bit of a wind up over the Man United fan. Into the last 2 minutes of the game, by the way, between Tottenham and Leeds, and Tottenham doing us a big favour, winning 2-1 at the moment. But Tom Lynch, evening, he says, still no win, lots of positives. I think we're probably down now, but so much optimism about the future. What a weird feeling. Do you think we're down now, Holly? I think the next 3 games obviously will tell us a lot more. I think, if we can get 6 points, it'd be nice to get 7, but if we could get 6 points out of Burnley and Norwich, I think, we're still in this.
I think we all know we've got hard fixtures within the Christmas period, and I worry that if we don't get many points before Christmas, then I think it'll be too far gone, and I don't think we'll manage to claw it out of the bottom 3. And I'm not convinced we are going to get the points that we need in the next couple of months, because ultimately you look at Brentford, they're probably one of the poorer teams in the league, and I was never confident of a win, if I'm being honest. I think I said 1-1 at best. It did surprise us with a 3-3, and I thought that was a really good result and performance, but it's still not the 3 points that we need. Burnley, I think we need to not underestimate them, because I think they'll be wanting the points a lot. And Norwich, you'd like to think we could win against them, but again, the teams we're expected to do well against, we never seem to. So I'm really, really struggling to see where we're going to get this 3 points from. And our attack did very, very well, but it's the same problems with the defence.
Yeah, John says, evening all, if we go to 4 at the back, we can survive. If we don't, we can't. Do you agree?
I think it's going to be difficult to change the formation that quickly, because I think that squad's so used to playing 5 at the back. I wasn't surprised we played that against Brentford. I think it takes time to adjust. A 4 at the back, it could improve things potentially, but I think the analogy is in certain teams it works, trying to go on the front foot, going, we'll score 1 more than you. You saw us doing that in the 90s when we were challenging at the top end of the table, but we're currently challenging at the bottom end of the table. So we need to keep those goals out. And I think regardless if you play a 5 or a 4 at the back, I just think we're going to struggle with the squad that we have. I would like to see Fernandes and Shaw together, although Shaw didn't impress massively. But I think the fullbacks definitely need to be looked at. And, the right back and the left back situation's been a problem for years.
Yeah, Tom says, question for Holly. Do you think Newcastle will get relegated this season, or will we survive?
I'm probably 49-51 in favour of us staying up, but it's very, very close. And the closer we get to January, the more and more I start to worry.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I still think we'll survive. I still think we'll get a decent run at some point. We'll get our first win, and that'll be it. Tottenham have won 2-1, so that keeps Leeds within touching distance for this weekend, at least. Anyway, still a 6 points drift, but ultimately still in with a chance. And as I say, those 2 home games against Burnley and Norwich are going to be very, very big and very important. We need 6 points. 6 points is a must. Tom says, Joe Linton yesterday, wow, maybe there is a decent player in him after all. He was phenomenal yesterday. Yeah, 2 things I didn't think I would say after Eddie Howe's first game was that Shelvey and Joe Linton covered themselves in glory yesterday. 2 good performances.
Yeah, I think it's a toss of a coin between who was the man of the match between those 2. I thought they were both fantastic. Shelvey was going in for every ball. He was actually running. He was making the effort to go in, get the challenges. His passing was spot on. His heading was pretty decent as well. Fantastic. He made a massive impact within that midfield where we've previously struggled. So if he continues to play like that, then I think he's definitely got a future under Eddie Howe. And I'm delighted to see that, because Shelvey was one of my favourites in the past, but I think under Steve Bruce, he's really went downhill. Hasn't been half the player he was. He looked very lazy, looked like he didn't want to play for the club anymore. But now he seems to really, really be going for it, and I hope that continues. And we don't have that inconsistency from him, because I think that's been the main problem with Shelvey over the years. And Joe Linton, I thought he was fantastic. Really, really good. I think we all were a little bit like, oh, for God's sake, when we saw him in the lineup. I was expecting him to be playing in a different role to what he was, but I thought that he did really well. And that goal was so, so important. I just wish that he managed to put his second chance away, because I think if he did, that would have made him. But I think certainly that will have filled him with a lot of confidence. And I think that's the main thing for Joe Linton. He needs that confidence so that he can continue to improve his game, and that certainly would have helped him.
Yeah, definitely good to see. Hopefully that's just the start of better things from both those players. Oliver, he just says, read. Carl Darlow must be dropped straight away and look for a new club. We could have won the match if he was not in goal. We would have had more points on the board this season if he was not. And he also says, our captain also needs to be sold in January. He's not got the brains or the intelligence to be in our centre defence. Get him gone. And Oliver also says, let's not get too excited by Shelvey. He'll probably get a red card next week. other attacking was very good. So, I mean, you know, a mixture of opinions there. We've already touched on Darlow. We've touched on Shelby, given our opinions on him. What about Lascelles? I mean, he got a goal yesterday, but 3 goals again at the back. You know, could do better. You know, is still on his Newcastle United half-term report, isn't it?
Yeah, he did get that goal, which was massively important for us, but ultimately I don't think he did much more than that. Not very good in the defence, conceded far too many goals. He wasn't the poorest defender. For me, Clark was the poorest defender, but again, I just think the same thing we've said for a couple of seasons now. He's no captain and he really shouldn't be in that starting lineup within the central defence.
John says, if Eddie played for the back of Bournemouth, why on earth did he go with a wing-back? Disjointed formation yesterday. It's a loser. I just don't think he wanted to make too many changes. I mean, he made a couple. But yeah, I guess as well that, you know, he's going to have to slowly get the players used to playing in the way that he wants. He's only been there a couple of weeks. So I guess we've got to give him a chance to get in, get sorted, and you know, get them understanding his philosophy. Kenny asks a question. He says, we would have won yesterday if it wasn't for poor defending and a bad performance from Darlow, who also made Ivan Toney look good. What back four will save our season? What would be your preferred back four, Holly?
If it's the left backs where I think we're going to struggle the most. If Paul Dummett became fit again, I'd probably be inclined to put him at left back. Well, I do prefer him as centre back, but I don't think that we have a lot of good options at left back. Of course, there is Lewis, but I think he's probably better on a 5, playing as more of a wing back. In centre backs, I would go Shaw and Fernandez, and then right back, I would probably go Manquillo.
Yeah, well, my back four would be Manquillo, Shaw, Fernandez, and Dummett. That would be my back four, 100%. Obviously, I would stick Lewis in at left back if you know, if Dummett wasn't available. But yeah, interesting, Kenny. You'll have to let us know what yours is. Oliver says the support from the fans is still not like it used to be. The match atmosphere is still too quiet. Needs to be like Anfield for 90 minutes. A lot to do. It was a lot better where I sit. I mean, obviously, because you know, I go with my dad and my brother. We're on a 10-year deal still in the Platinum Club. You know, people were singing in the Platinum Club yesterday. I thought there was a better atmosphere than there has been for a long time. But you're right. There's still a lot of periods of silence, and I guess a lot of that's down to the fact that we haven't had much to sing or shout about. You know, and it's clear when we go on away trips, Holly, isn't it, that a lot of the songs that are sung are songs about the old players, you know, Colaccini's and Shearer's and Andy Cole's and what have you. You know, those songs which used to get a rendition years ago are all sung, and there's none of that really at the home game, is there?
No, it is quite sad when you go to the away games and you hear those old songs being sung about, because it reminds you that we've had nothing to be happy about for so long. But I think within time, we will get a new exciting era, obviously up and coming, and then we will be able to make new songs. At home games, it's a lot more flat than away games. I think that's always been the case. But that game, under Eddie Howe's first game, although he wasn't in the dugout, I thought the atmosphere improved a lot. And I think we will gradually see that over time. I just think it will take time, because literally we're bottom of the league. You know, we're not going to be exactly ecstatic.
Yeah, Bruce getting tipped to get the Man U job until the end of the season. Imagine Cristiano Ronaldo playing in a back 5. Tom, that's an absolute classic, isn't it? Rooney will be the next manager, he reckons. I doubt it. What do you think, apart from goalkeeping error and a terrible deflection? It could have been a dream start. Keep the faith, says Doug. NUFC TV gives his back four. He says, you need to start playing Manquillo, Shaw, Fernandez, and Lewis as the back four with Dubravka in goal. Yeah, I mean, we're all pretty convinced that those two are the ones to play at centre halves. Darlow needs to be sold. Accept 2 million. Send him to Sunderland or on loan to Darlington. Dear me, Oliver, you're having a right old rant today. Just give Darlow away. He's a championship player, and take Clark with him, says NUFC TV. Haven't felt like that listening to a Toon game in a long time, says Stephen. At least it's clear where we need to focus in the transfer window. Yeah, I do agree. I think we do need to focus clearly on you know, tightening up the defenders and getting another striker as well. I still think it's important. We might have scored 3 goals yesterday, but we still need another striker just in case there's an injury. NUFC TV says we look so good going forward. Oliver says Joelinton played well, but we can't rely on a donkey in a relegation battle. Bit harsh on J7, it has to be said. Henderson would be a good buy for us, as Man United have 4 keepers, and we need to sell Darlow. and one other. Darlow's made the same mistake more than once this season. And Dave says, good evening, Steve and Ollie. Fantastic night on Friday. It was a cracking night, Ollie, wasn't it? And it was good to see so many of our NUFC Matters viewers.
Yeah, it was fantastic to see people from the show that I've never met before, and also the viewers. It was a really, really good night. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was great to see so many people. I think I was as starstruck meeting Julie than anybody else, because they're just names on the screen, and some of these people obviously don't live anywhere near Newcastle, so when they come up, it's great. But it was just great to meet people like Julie. Saw her a couple of times over the weekend, and hope you had a safe trip back home. And speak of the devil, there is Julie there. Says, good evening all, fantastic weekend with a party and going to the game. So good to meet so many of you at last. Staffy, good evening, mate. He says, kebab pasties and burger pasties are the way forward.
I need to know where you get burger pasties from, because I've never tried that.
Yeah. Was at the game and thought Joe Linton was immense. Darlow's cost us though, says Steve Grossman. Yeah, I think we all agree. Sadly, Darlow didn't cover himself in glory. Tom, clearly not impressed with baked beans on a Sunday dinner. Neither am I, mate. Beans are wrong anyway, but that's awful. Sacrilege, says Crixus about that. Doug just reminds us that we're still only 6 points from safety, which is true. And Geordie Toonvalley says the person who put beans on the Sunday dinner must have been dragged up. Name and shame them. I can't name and shame them really, because it's a good mate of mine. I don't want him to get hammered for it. Baked beans, heathen, says Doug. Tom says here's one: Yorkshire pudding with Christmas dinner. Yesterday or no? Yes for me.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I don't. Well, I've never had. I've got to be honest. We don't have Yorkshire puddings with Christmas dinner, but I wouldn't say no to it. Definitely not. Black and White Knight says Darlow has to be dropped. Alan Thompson says my heart sank when I saw Darlow come on the pitch. First goal was a howler. Didn't help my mood. Lots of positives after calling Joe Linton one of the worst players I've ever seen. He was man of the match. Yeah, a lot of people came out of the ground yesterday impressed with him. Rachel says the only way is up. Very true. Mike Gent says question: mint sauce on every Sunday dinner? Yes.
Not for me. I think mint sauce is vile.
Yeah, I enjoy it. I don't know why I started having it on Sunday dinner, but I did. It's just weird. I just enjoy it. Dubravka has come back next game. Yes, Rachel 100% agree. Darlow's done bad all season, in my opinion. Yeah, I mean, it hasn't gone well, has it? It hasn't gone well since he came back in for Woodward and for Woodman, sorry. And it's just hopefully going to be the return of Dubravka next week. Gary says definitely Yorkshire puddings on me Christmas dinner as long as it's gluten free. Okay. Dean says if you could pick an entire new back four to start after the January window, who would be in it? I'll start with Trippier, Tarkowski, Ake and Lewis.
That's not bad. I would take that. I think Tarkowski's certainly a good option, especially if we can get him on a free. I don't know what you think. Do you think Lewis would play well in a back four, or do you think he's more suited to a back five as a wing back?
It's a tough one, isn't it? I think he'd be better as wing back. I really do.
Yeah.
But you've got to have cover when you play that. You know what I mean? You've got to be well drilled to know what you're doing. You've really got to know what you're doing. So, yeah, it's again, transfers in January are going to be very, very important. We need a top keeper and a central defender. No leader at the back. Julie is saying, is your volume very low, Holly?
I don't know.
It is a little bit quiet, mind. It is a little bit quiet. I've got to be honest. I haven't really paid that much attention to it, but I can hear you, so I'm fine. But if it might just need a little bit of fiddling around. So see if you can turn it up. I missed that. Sorry, Julie, at the start. I'll give a shout out to sponsors. Volume. Is it full volume?
Yeah.
New headset? Or same
headset? I'm using my phone instead of my laptop.
That'll be why then, maybe. That might be why. Okay, I'll give a shout out to sponsors anyway. We can hear you. It'll do for tonight. Spider VPN. Thank you to you guys for your sponsorship. Google Spider VPN. They come up at the top of the Google search list. They will help protect your computer and your password. They are the boys to trust for internet security and VPNs. Thanks to skipsandbins.com. Telephone 0800 25 45 25 3. Email inquiries at skipsandbins.com. www.skipsandbins.com. Easy, contract free and pay-as-you-go waste collection. Big shout out as well to L&G Family Funeral Directors, 0191 389 7245, and qtechshop.co.uk, the makers of pool tables and snooker tables in Wallsend, Newcastle, and to Jab Signature, jabsignature.co.uk. Subscribe by hitting the Newcastle Legends logo in the bottom right-hand corner. Hit the thumb up to like the video. Click share to share to your other social media, and drop into the comments box to post a question on the screen or to speak to like-minded Newcastle fans. We're also available as a podcast on iTunes and Spotify and other podcast providers. Usually goes up 24 hours after the show, and you've got a lot of stuff on there these days. Well worth having a look and a listen. 2 events coming up. Peter Beardsley this Friday, 26th of November, at the Irish Centre, 7 o'clock. Tickets from newcastlelegends.com. Click shop to buy your tickets for that. And another one with Peter on the 30th of January at the Time Theatre on Westcott Road. And tickets are available on Voucher and on Groupon on there. Make a nice Christmas present for a fellow magpie. So get yourself onto Groupon or Voucher. Also got the Foodbank event on the 9th of December. That is at Bobix, which was the Punch Bowl in Jesmond. Bobix.com. Get yourself onto that website to buy tickets for that event. Don't forget you can drop money into the virtual bucket, NUFC fans, foodbank.co.uk. And you can still buy your raffle tickets for £1 each at NUFC fans, foodbank.co.uk for these custom-made Peter Beardsley trainers made by I Am The Renovation. Get yourself onto there. And don't forget the website. You can buy your NUFC Mass membership pack where you get your free scarf, your membership card, your mugs, a nice little bag. And it's a one-off payment of £25 to become a cult member. So get yourself onto the website. Eddie Howe t-shirts available on there as well, nufcmatters.com. And you can also get your cups. Fantastic little cups as well. Just nice little presents, all in all. Well worth having a pop on to nufcmatters.com. And don't forget, the back page and Amazon have got copies of my book, Every Boy's Dream. So if you want a stocking filler for somebody, then you can buy them from those places. So plenty of stuff to get your eyes on in that book. Okay, back to the questions and the comments. And Dubravka has to be in goal for Arsenal, says Simon. I think we all agree on that. We just need to see that. Really, we do. We just need to see Dubravka back in. I think it'll give the back four a whole boost. The Geordie Parrot says we need a whole back four. It is shocking. Dubravka played international football, so he's not had a chance to impress Howe, says Geordie Toomper Life. Paul Stones says only chance we've got of staying up is if we take points from the big teams. Yeah, I mean, get organised. We can do that. We know we can. From our point of view, it's doable. We just need that situation in January to not be too far cut adrift, to be able to bring some players in, and then the need to gel quickly. That's what we need. Paul also says another bad thing in January is if we're still in the bottom three, can we really attract players? Yeah, I mean that is again. That is another issue, isn't it? It's another issue. If we are cut adrift, some players may not want to come. It's going to make it harder. Definitely harder. Jeff says a marvelous night on Friday. Thank you to all involved. Mozza says a little bit of public praise for Joe Linton and Shelby from Howe, and it really worked. Yeah, I guess it did. For all the positivity in attacking, Howe's defence conceded about 67 goals at Bournemouth. Realistically, how can anyone say Howe coaching an already horrendous defence to safety, says GG? Is that a fair point, Holly?
I think I can understand where they're coming from, but you do need to give them time. I think it's very, very difficult for any manager to sort this defence out, but I do think that they will prioritise bringing in some good defenders, and then we should be able to sort it out. I think he knows that you're going to have to prioritise the defence just as much as the attack if we do want to stay up, because yes, we scored 3, but we also conceded 3, so it's not going to get us to win a game.
Dan says, hi chat, Steve and Chef Ramsey.
Chef Ramsey.
Must be you, because you're a food expert. Derek says, we need to realise with this defence we will concede every game and safety will not be achieved. Relegation is, I'm afraid, certain. Will the owners buy players that have championship football in mind? I don't think that's going to happen. I genuinely don't. I think we'll be fine. But January will look a lot different if we're 10 points adrift, and as you say, it'll be difficult to bring players in. Chris, good to see you this weekend. He says, I was at Central Station early for a 10:30 train, 4 hours after I was supposed to be home on a train just leaving Peterborough. It's a nightmare sometimes with the train, mate. It is a nightmare. We wanted attacking, exciting football, and that's what we got, so we shouldn't complain. Give the team and coach and staff a chance. I agree. Barry says, would you have kept Kelland Watts for defence instead of sending him out on loan? We need a complete overhaul of the defence. Would only keep Dummett, but he'd always be injured. Kel Watts, I mean, again, young player, up and coming, but again, relegation fight. You're always a bit worried, Holly, aren't you, putting in inexperience?
Yeah, in a relegation battle, you don't really want to mix up the team too much. You don't really want to bring youngsters in. But he did impress in pre-season, and I think I'd love to see him have a future at the club. But I think he needs a really, really good loan spell. Having said that, if we don't manage to sign any decent defenders, which I think is very unlikely, then you'd think, what's the harm in giving him a go, really? Because I don't think he's going to do that much worse than the likes of Kieran Clark, who I think's been appalling all season.
Yeah, Richard Morris says, I said, Steve, last week that Shelby will be like a new signing, and you laughed, but he was an excellent yesterday. I thought, I was wrong, certainly about Shelby in that first game. He's got to do it over the course of the rest of the season, though, and he's got to keep us out the relegation zone. So let's see where he's at, after the end of the season, and more than happy to hold my hands up and say I was wrong if he can keep that kind of form up, because he did play well. Another bad thing is in January, if we're still in the bottom three, can we really attract players? Paul, yeah, I've read that out earlier on. Muzza said we were in leasers and we were quiet, in my opinion, but a match of the day it sounded loud. Depends where you sit, I suppose. Just going back towards talking about the atmosphere. Ian's back four would be Lewis, Shaw, Kraft and Fernandez. Interesting. Slimy Green and Grimy says we only have 17 games to play after January the 1st. Realistically, it will be too late. Just about the relegation battle. The Black and White Knight says Bruce will keep Man U ticking along, especially if he takes his gloves off. Very good. Holly, January window, who do you see going and where do you strengthen the squad, says Staffy?
I don't think we'll let a lot of players go in the January. If we do, I think it would probably be Freddie Woodman, because I don't think he wants to play for Newcastle. That's just my opinion. I think he realises that he's kind of down the pecking order and he wants first team football, which I can totally understand. So I think Freddie Woodman, I'd say, is the most likely to go. Defenders, I think we need at least 2 defenders. We need a backup striker in case Callum Wilson gets another injury. And then I'd still probably sign a midfielder as well. So I think at least 4 players we need, but I'd like to see us get 5 or 6.
Yeah, I think Longstaff was poor when he came on, gave the ball away. Yeah, it's it's one of those things, isn't it? He does tend to do that quite a bit.
Yeah, he does. Didn't impress me at all. It's disappointing because I'd really love to see him do well, but he's okay at times, but then he constantly does these mistakes, and you just think, you really don't deserve a place in the team. He did give the ball away far too much, and he's such a defensive midfielder, but he's too defensive sometimes. Like, it literally looks like he's playing centre back, and I'm just not a fan of that kind of play.
Shelby playing for a move in January, says Stephen. Ginger, good evening, mate. He says, Steve, we need a ball-winning midfielder to protect our back line. Zakaria is running his contract down. Look, we need so many players in. It's going to be a fascinating January for us. At least we know we're going to be signing some players. I'd love Connor Cody as well, Sean. I think that would be a great signing. Would we stay up if we signed Tarkowski, Trippier and Ake for a refreshed defence, or am I only dreaming? Barry, you can dream now. We've got money. We've got people who want to spend it on our team. So you're not dreaming. It's just, what can actually be realistic is the big question, I guess. The Geordie Parrot looked a lot more positive going forward and having 52% possession is a first for a long time. Yeah, it was a big noticeable. I think 23 shots at goal as well. We got front foot football. That's all we want. Give it a go and see where we end up in May. Geordie says, don't know why people always ask for Fernandez back in the team. He's terrible as well. Wasn't even wanted at Swansea in the Championship. Yeah, look, he's, I guess people are just sick of seeing themselves making mistakes time and time again. But look, Eddie Howe's coming in with new ideas. So, we'll leave it to him. We'll leave it to the expert. Bazza says, I did say that Joe Linton would be much improved under Howe and score, which happened. But playing Darlow in goal was a mistake. Easily sorted for the next 4 games. Julie just says, bless you. Good journey back, bit tired now though. Yes, good to know that you're back home and safe. John Askew says, was the positive reaction to yesterday's point a bit OTT? Most fans expected a win. 3 points should now be the order of the day. December looks a bit tricky. I don't think it was over the top. I just think it was more relief, I guess, from a lot of people because, we could have lost that game yesterday. Ivan Toney had a goal disallowed as well, rightfully so, of course. But yeah, I don't know. I just think because it's a new era now. It is a new era. There's, Ashley Charnley's gone. Steve Bruce is gone. Although he wasn't in the dugout, it was Eddie Howe's first game. And, ultimately, I just think people were excited and happy because, we scored 3 goals at home against a team, which has to be said, apart from the last 4 games, has got off to a good start in the Premier League.
Yeah, I think the same. I don't think it was over the top. I think, to be honest, I know you're saying a lot of people expected to win. I know you expected to win, Steve, but I expected defeat. So it was a good result in my book. Scoring 3 goals is not the most Newcastle thing. So seeing that was fantastic. It was very end-to-end. Defensively, we were poor, but on the attack, I thought we were phenomenal. And that really got fans off their seats. And I think it certainly sets up Eddie Howe in good stead going forward. And then you're thinking, if we manage to sort out the defence, we should do really well this season.
Yeah, Richie, Clark, Shelby are not the quickest, which is a big problem defensively, particularly Richie, as Maxi isn't going to help out defensively. Yep. Jeff, good to see you on Friday, sir. Vegan sausage pita bread. Way forward. Vegan sausage pita bread?
Not for me. I mean, I'm not a big fan of vegan things in general. I mean, fair enough if you're vegan, but I've tried to eat like the vegan, like corn and stuff, and I just don't like it personally.
Not for you. No, not for you. Okay, well, not for me. I'm not much of a vegan. I like red meat. Derek says mint sauce in mushy peas. Yeah,
sauce in general.
Do you like mushy peas?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, well, there you go. We've got another thing we've got in common on food. Dublin Magpie says, have you tried sugar on buttered toast yet, Holly?
No, and I'm not planning to.
Sugar on buttered toast. Yeah, it's obviously our friend, the Dublin Magpie. Maybe you could bring some over, or bring some from the hotel the next time you're over for a game, for Holly to try live at the Dog and Parrot.
That's what you've got to do, not me. I didn't sign up to doing that.
Yeah, but he wants to know if you like that, so we'll see. He might bring some. You might be lucky the next game he comes to. But yes, not yesterday. Stupid predictive test. Oh yeah, sorry, Tom. Gavin Jones says, have you seen the new retro strip the club have released? Should be the first team strip, 100%. What's your thoughts on it, Holly?
I think it's stunning. I absolutely love it, but I think £60 a bit overpriced for like a retro shirt. I think it should be about £40-45. But I do really, really like it. And to be honest, I do prefer it to the home strip. So if they brought something out like that next season, I'd be buzzing.
All right. Yorkshire Pudding and Jam.
Oh my God. No. That should be illegal.
With lamb, says Oliver. I'm not sure why he would want lamb with that. Maybe he means mint sauce. I think that's what he's saying. Yes, slimy, green and grimy. You got the J7. You can get your T-shirt if you want that. We do J7 T-shirts on NUFCmatters.com. Tom asks, what did you think of Joe Willock yesterday?
Went under the radar. Didn't really do a great deal. I thought didn't impress us. I don't think he was bad. I don't think he was great. And I think that's what I've said all season. I'm so disappointed because he was off to such a fantastic start at Newcastle last season, and then we've signed him permanently and he just doesn't seem to be fitting in. I don't think he's being played in his best position, so hopefully that does change under Eddie Howe at some stage. But right now there's just something not clicking with him, and I'm thinking maybe if he gets a bit of a break out of the side and can come back in, he'll play a lot better and play a lot fresher. But unfortunately, I just don't think he's hitting the mark at the moment.
No, I would agree. Lots of comments on mint sauce. Simon says, defo mint sauce on a Sunday dinner. Mint sauce only on lamb, says Tom. I love mint sauce on all my Sunday dinners, says Rachel, same as me. Derek says, mint sauce on all Sunday dinners as well. A lot of people have that. That's interesting. Geordie says, not what I want to say, but if we did go down, do you think players like Wilson, ASM, Dubravka will stay or leave?
I think they'd all be inclined to stay. I think ESM's the biggest bargain we'd take, but I think there would be a chance there that he'd stay because I think they know that we'd be most likely to get promoted on the first attempt. And then next season, there's a massive promising future ahead of us. There's a project there, and I think everyone will want to play for us in time. It's just currently, we need to sort out the current problems.
Yeah, definitely. J7, defo man of the match, but why didn't he just hit that chance in the last minute first time? That was so frustrating, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. And then there was that little bit where they were kept playing 1-2s in the box. There was about 4 players that had a chance to have a shot on goal, and they just kept passing it and passing it, trying to walk it into the net. And I'm just thinking, have a go. It's like no one dares take a shot in case they miss it, but you've got more of a chance rather than trying to walk it in the net, because ultimately, when you've got like 4 Brentford defenders, you're going to get the ball took off you at some stage.
Yeah, exactly. Tom says apple sauce, cranberry sauce, mint sauce on your Sunday dinner.
I don't have any sauces on my Sunday dinner except gravy, but the Greg's Festive Bakes have cranberry sauce in, and they're really, really nice.
Cranberry sauce on me Christmas dinner, Tom. Not on any other dinner, just me Christmas dinner.
What is it with you and sauces, by the way? Why do you need so many sauces on everything?
I just enjoy like a cranberry sauce. I have it with my dinner. I don't know, it's just what I was brought up with, I guess. Jodie Tooper says Coleman's mint sauce on my Sunday dinner, and Christmas dinner is just a posh Sunday dinner. So definitely Yorkshire puddings. Okay. Burnley aren't going to sell us Tarkowski because they're in a relegation fight with us. Yeah, I would. It's going to be difficult to prize a player away from another team down at the bottom, but you know, it's all down to agents, the player, and money, isn't it? And if he puts a transfer request in, there's not a great deal they can do.
Yeah, wasn't he rumored to be going on a free?
Yeah. Be interesting to see what happens with that, but it's anything's possible. Money does talk, and we've got a bit of that these days. John says, try sprinkling Cadbury's flake on rice pudding or Angel Delight. Lovely.
Angel Delight's not that bad, but I can't eat rice pudding because it's just like sick. It's the same with porridge. I don't like anything of that consistency.
I have porridge every morning for my breakfast. So yeah, but semolina's as well. That's a bit different. But yeah, I don't mind that. Don't mind it. I haven't had rice pudding for a long time. Good shout that, John. I might get some this week. Ferry Hill Mag, Saturday I can't come quick enough. Cans. Yep, we'll see you on the train. Ferry Hill, looking forward to seeing you. Will Jesse now stay at Man U as the manager is gone? Interesting question. What do you think? Lingard, do you think he'd change his mind now that Solskjaer's gone? Depends who goes in, I guess.
I think that would make him more inclined to stay at Manchester United, but I think if he got a good move, I still think he'd take that, and I'd love to see him at Newcastle.
Raspberry jam and custard inside Yorkshire pudding, says Tom.
Why? Why are we putting all these sweet things in Yorkshire pudding? The only thing that should go on Yorkshire pudding is gravy.
Lewis has played in 4 most of his career at Norwich. It all comes down to how good the 2 central defenders are. Dean, you're right, I think. Can we talk football, not food, says Bazza. We just go where the chat takes us, mate. Unfortunately, I try not to get on about food, but it does happen every now and then. It's a bit like Liam Kennedy's show. It can sometimes go off into the middle of, something random. So be prepared. Holly is quiet, unusual for a woman, says Jodie Tune for life. Just kidding, honest.
I don't know what's wrong with my volume, otherwise I wouldn't be quiet.
Classic. Craig Bell says, replace Clark with Hayden and sit him in front of the defence. Too much space in front of our defence yesterday. Yeah, fair point. I think Darlow is too busy watching Dubravka in the stands. His days are numbered. Yeah, I said this last week. He doesn't play well when Dubravka's sitting on the bench. Like, really doesn't. Same old mistakes from our wing backs. Yep, Jeff, no doubt about it. Need to fast forward this bit. He's cutting about the food. I had the massive privilege to meet Jamie Rubin at the Foodbank yesterday. What a lovely bloke. Yeah, it was great of Jamie to pop down, and he also texted me a message just to thank everybody at the Friday night event for the Foodbank as well. And I know he did the same for the guys at True Faith who had their day with the Irish Centre on the Thursday. So it's great to see the new owners reaching out to support us and backing such an important thing as the Foodbank. Crixus says, hopefully we get a director of football soon, needed before January, whatever league we're in. Yeah, I mean, there was rumours of Michael Enamalo being at the game yesterday. I'm not sure if he was. But yeah, I think we all agree that would be something which would be vital before January anyway. If we go down, how many of the current squad would stay with the club to help with the return to the Premier League? Great show. Thanks, Munch. I believe under this ownership, you'd be surprised how many would stay. And I think we'd probably end up getting another year out of some of these older players, because they're experienced and they've been through the relegation and they've got Newcastle back up. So I believe would probably keep a lot of them. I think we'd probably lose St. Maximin. I think he would probably want to leave. But I don't know, Holly, what about you? Do you think we'd have a few stay?
Yeah, I think most of the squad would stay. I think ASM is the one that'd be most likely to go, but I think we still might be able to bargain with him to get him to stay on just for that season, because I think if we did obviously be financially backed well in the summer window, which let's face it, we would be, then I think we'd probably find it very, very easy in the Championship. Not to mention the wealth of experience that a lot of our players have within the Championship. And, you've got the likes of Dwight Gale still at the team, who's proven to score a lot of goals in that league.
Yeah, Mark Earlham, good evening. He says the game yesterday was the first in a long time that made me excited. The results now matter. Yeah, I mean, I got the same feeling. It was just great. Do you know what I mean? It was just it was a lot of a different atmosphere. Darlow never gets down quick enough, says Posey Street Henderson. Yeah, it's just he's not having the greatest of seasons. We need 9 wins minimum. Yeah, 100%. Brian, it was good to see you the other night on Friday. He says, hi, both. You didn't look starstruck when you met me. Great to meet you all and keep up your good work. It was great to see so many faces and put names to faces. Shaw had a decent game, to be fair, considering he's not played much football. Yep, Dan, I would agree. Is it true that £200 million is being bandied around for the next 3 seasons, not just this window? Barry, don't believe everything you read in the papers, mate, is what I'd say. I don't think Newcastle would be daft enough to start telling people what they're going to be spending. Any leaks coming out of the club, again, I would just treat them with as much distrust as possible, because they're not going to start putting themselves in a position where clubs are going to say, oh well, we know they've got X amount, so we'll bump the price up. They're not that daft, so I would say no to that. What do people reckon to the new retro shirt? Smart, should have been our actual shirt this season. Don't see the point. Not really a retro shirt. Has not had a shirt like it. Yeah, Tom, it is a bit weird, but look, it's if people like it, they'll buy it. I guess it's a nice shirt, and like Holly says, she would probably like it as a top. But yeah, I found it a bit of a weird release, that one. John says, regards the atmosphere, I remember Liverpool are watching canny football at the moment. If we were watching that, we'd be dancing in the aisles, literally. Yeah, it'd be like the entertainers' day. What's happened to Miggy? No idea. I mean, he did come back late from international duty, didn't he, Holly? So I presume he just wasn't deemed, fit enough or whatever, or he hadn't worked with him. He hadn't worked with him over that period, so decided that it was probably best not to have him in.
Yeah, not much news on Miggy. I think he'll certainly do well in this team. Another really talented attacking player that we've got, and I think it's someone that would play well under Eddie Howe, and Eddie Howe would like. But obviously, with him being on international duty, the same as Martin Dubravka, I suppose you could see, he hasn't really had that chance to monitor him within the training sessions like he has the other players.
When will Howe back? Do you know, Tom? I think there's a doctor's. They're waiting on the doctor's report, aren't they? It is possible he could be back. I would imagine for the Arsenal game. I guess he's got to have 2 negative tests, hasn't he? But I honestly don't know. He'll not be able to train this week either, which would be a bit of a nightmare if he's still laid up. The defence was rock solid under Rafa. Good point, mate. Loan with the option to buy, says Kamal. Yep. And Graham says, face it, we're going down. Just hope the Championship financial fair play doesn't affect us and we come straight back up. I'm still optimistic, Graham. I don't know why. I'm a bit more optimistic than I was, and I still think we'll stay up. Rachel says, and still we have the doom and gloom merchants on here. We had this last season and we survived with what we had. Things are going to get better. That's the spirit. NE28 says, have fans given up on Woodman? Henderson and Ramsdale are both 50 million. Goalkeepers Woodman was thought of more highly than both of them in England in every age group level than both of them. I just think at the moment, because things haven't been going well, goalkeepers are in that position where they're always going to be judged, Holly, aren't they? And that's the problem, And if a goalkeeper has a bad game, there's no place to hide. If somebody's outfield has a bad game, then they can hide behind the other 9 outfield players. But it's difficult in a goalkeeper because you're under the spotlight. But I don't think people have given up on Woodman. He just didn't cover himself in glory at the start of the season, did he?
No, he didn't. And I think he just really seemed like he didn't really care. He didn't really want to play for Newcastle. I think he was expecting to go back to Swansea. It didn't happen. And then it just seemed like he was disappointed. So I think he knows that he's not going to get the first team football at Newcastle whilst Martin Dubravka's here. And then, he wants to leave. And I can understand that. And I think maybe in January it would be the time to let him go, even if it is a loan, if that's what's going to make him a better player and progress more in his career. But yeah, the goalkeepers are going to find it very, very difficult, especially when they're not being supported by the defence. But Darlow hasn't played well. We can all say that. And then when you've got someone like Martin Dubravka on the bench, then it does add an extra element of frustration because you're thinking, well, we've got someone better there and we're not using them.
Yeah, hopefully the trains will be all right, Tom. Hats off to the Rubens for meeting the NUFC Foodbank team class act. Yes, very much so. Stephen Ollie, simple question. Why is Dubravka, Lewis, Manquillo and Fernandez not playing? Are they not doing it in training? It's driving me crazy. Why? Obviously, a change of manager means, he's got to look at everybody and see what the situation is, I guess. And, I think with Dubravka, similar to Almiron, he was on international duty. And he's worked with Darlow for the 2 weeks, I guess. So that's probably why. I can't answer the question on Manquillo. It's a strange one. Fernandez, as we know, had a problem with the previous manager. And as for Lewis, hasn't been going through the greatest of form. And, again, international duty, though. It looks as if he rested most of those international players. So I think that is probably why. Tell says he'd love to see the war flags display extended to the Leazes end. Well, do you like that idea?
Yeah, definitely, because I think the Gallagher does kind of get all of the attention in the ground, and bringing that to the other side of the stadium would look really good. But it's all about money, isn't it? Because the flags cost a lot for the Gallagher end, and then if you're doing that at the Leazes as well, it'll cost a lot more.
This is our house. This is Newcastle. Inspirational quote from Caducci, and war flags did us proud. Yes, Alan, I certainly did. Good to see you on Friday as well. My ideal back four would be Dummett, and Dummett. He's our only good defender, says Mark.
That's quite harsh. I think we do have some good defenders. I think Fernandez is good, but Dummett is really good, and I am a fan of him, more so at centre back than left back. But currently, I think he probably would be our best option at left back. You're just wondering what on earth's wrong with him, because he doesn't really seem to be getting any updates coming out of the club, and obviously he's got this injury, and we're wondering how severe is this injury, because no one's really saying much about him.
Yeah, I thought the players had much more energy, drive and positive attitude. If that's what Howe can do in 2 weeks, I have faith, says Julie. NUFC TV, if we're still bottom come January, forget any top signings coming in. Baza says we had over 50% possession and Joe Linton was like a new player, so let's not be too disappointed with the draw. The only way is up. Dave just says we need Hayden back. Would you agree?
I'm not a Hayden fan. I think he's reliable, but he's slow. He's very defensive. I don't think that's the direction we want to be going in the future. So I don't think we're missing Hayden.
Yeah, Hayden's another one who splits opinions. A few of our players are, but as Howe has more time with these players, I'm sure things will change over the course of the next couple of months. Alan says, Stephen Ollie, do you think we'll get 20 points this season? As I'm just hoping that when we don't break the record with the lowest points total. I think Sunderland have the record. Yeah, I think there's records 15, isn't it? I think we'll be safe, mate. I think we'll get 37, 38 points, and I think that'll keep us up.
Yeah, I think the second half of the season will certainly pick up points. It's just before that, but I think we will get more than 20 points, 100%.
Holly, drop a hint to your parents about the new shirt as a Christmas present, says Donald.
No, it is. I've already spent far too much money on shirts this season. I'm not buying any more.
John from QDeck says Yorkshire pudding with golden syrup, heavenly.
Why is John getting involved in this now? We've established nothing sweet goes on Yorkshire puddings. No.
Are we going to see a new Joe Linton from now on? He was fantastic yesterday. Yeah, we'll cover that at the top of the show. Let's just take it game by game. But, you've got to get the best out of the players we've got up until January. So fair play to Howe for getting something out of him. Since he's been at the club, Miggy's done now for me. I don't understand the kid's popularity. He was playing well under Rafa with Salomon Rondon and Ayoze Perez. But unfortunately, since Bruce came in and then departed, he's not really played well. Be interesting to see how he reacts to Eddie Howe. We all seem to be writing December off, but it will be typical of us to get a few unexpected points. Mark, never a truer word spoken, mate. I do believe there's fight in this battle for us yet. There's always one team drops like a proverbial stone as well, Mark, as we all know. Hope Jamie's watching. Thank you very much for your real love for our new Newcastle. All associated with the takeover will be remembered forever. Tune. Still loads to play for. Dubravka needs to come back in, says Dunno. Barry says, amazing show, you two, as always. I don't think we're going down. We will solidify in January and stage a fight back. We don't need a keeper. Dubravka is class. We have to get to centre halves. Barry, all about opinions, mate. I'd like to see us build from the back. I think a world class keeper with the money that we've got would be great. World class keeper, world class centre half, world-class midfield and world-class centre-forward, spine of the team, improve it, and then build around that. We've got more than enough in that midfield area. If we can just build through the middle. And I wouldn't be adverse to, bringing like a Connor Cody in and making him your captain. And, you build from the back and everything else works out. You know what I mean? Look at all the great teams. They've all had like a good, strong goalkeeper and a good centre-half. You do need to start with that and somebody who can score goals. Slimy says, I'm 90% confident we're going down. Doesn't matter. We have our club back. And there's a lot of people saying that as well. I've had a couple of texts off me pals today saying exactly the same thing. So I know why some people feel like that. Rachel says, great show as always, Stephen Holly. Thank you, Rachel. Kirk says, positive intention, read up about it. It's what made Keegan's style of management. Instead of saying we will go down, why not say, why can we not stay up? Yeah, positive mental attitude is something which, can go a long way. And that's where the first win is going to be so important as well. Darlow Murphy and sadly Matt Ritchie need to be dropped, says Gary. Yeah, Matt Ritchie's just he's not a left wing back. Play him in a different position. I really do think that would see the best of him. I think still a major part for Ritchie to play this season. Has the Mole been heard of since Charlie left? Seems to have gone quite quiet on the Mole, it has to be said. Steve, will there be match day live on Saturday with Newcastle being on TV? Tom, we're struggling, mate, with COVID now to do match day live, sadly. I go to the games, home and away, as does Holly, and ultimately a few of the other guys who were doing it are travelling to the games as well. So it's really difficult for us to do, Tom. So reluctantly, I'll probably say no. I will put it to Daz and Martin, of course, because they're the guys who, in the past have pulled it together. And if we can pull a team together, then we will do. But I think, it is proven to be difficult. So I won't promise, but I will ask the question for all of those who are interested in that. Derek says, the defence is the reason why our keepers are struggling. I'm a former goalkeeper and you need to trust your defence. Yeah, very, very, very true. Abs as well says we can stay up, but I'd say it's 80-20 that will go down. A lot of people saying, very similar things. Apparently, Lewis played very well on international duty. Italy struggled against them. Yeah, there's a player in there. Lewis isn't a bad player at all. Great show, says Keith. Thank you. Doug Hall says ASM signed improved contract, keeping him until 2026. So I think he will stay. Gary asking that $1 million question. Realistically, who do we bring in January? It really depends where we are, doesn't it, Holly? It depends, whether we're cut adrift or whether we've pulled ourselves back in. It will affect it.
Yeah, because if we're starting to climb the league and we're like closing in on kind of the mid-table kind of positions, then you're going to attract a lot higher caliber of player. But if you're like 10 points plus adrift, then you're not really going to get those players. The only players you're going to get is players that aren't happy at their club, and they see Newcastle as kind of a route out of that. But someone that's already at a club that's doing well, they're not going to want to leave that just to come to Newcastle and fight relegation or ultimately end up in the Championship.
I'm just laughing there because I've just stumbled across a few more food comments, which I'll put up in a second. Holly, what teams do you think will get relegated this season from the Premier League?
Norwich. I think they're 100% nailed on to go down. Burnley. I think it's going to be their year to finally kind of make that drop, because they've been holding on by kind of the skin of their teeth for quite a while now. And then I think the third team's very, very difficult. I think Newcastle could well be that third team. I don't want them to be, obviously, but if it wasn't Newcastle, I don't know. You know what it is? I genuinely think you might see Brentford start to drop down the league when it comes towards kind of January, and I think they'll be in with a chance as well.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what develops. Once we get 3 points, so I think the floodgates will open and we'll pick up points we need, says Strappy. Yeah, I agree, mate. Paul says, have you ever had a Yorkshire pudding wrap?
Yeah, they're absolutely unreal.
I've not. I think I had one once. Yeah. I think I did. Yorkshire pud with jam and clotted cream or ice cream, says Dean.
Is this a normal thing now? We're having Yorkshire puddings for dessert.
Tomato sauce on Christmas dinner, Holly.
Is that my dad in disguise?
Darren Bloom. If we do go down, it's all Mike Ashley and Steve Bruce's fault. He left the club in a horrendous mess. The new owners were left with an almost impossible task. Getting the excuse in early there, Stu. Percy Street Henderson says, peas pudding with diced ham in it.
Never had that. I mean, I'm all for a ham and peas pudding wrap, or not wrap, like sandwich or whatever, but I don't know about that.
Darlow was shocking, very disappointed in him. Christian, yes, I think we all were. Teams like Watford and Southampton are definitely safe. For me, it's Norwich and Burnley to go down. Don't forget, there's always one team drops. You never say never. There's always a team. Brentford could be that team. Could be Watford. They might go on another bad run. Southampton could get dragged into it. Who knows? All good teams build from the back. Dunno, 100% mate. Miggy will play well under Howe. His moving off the ball will be exploited by Howe in an attacking sense. No more sitting back like Bruce Ball. Yeah, I think we'll see a different player in Miggy. Dummett, Clark, Fernandez and Manquillo. I know I'll get some stick for Clark, says Kenny. That's his back four, because obviously he asked the question a little bit earlier. Leeds lost today. We've gained a point on them. Let's not get too depressed. Ian, really good point that, mate. Yeah. I'm concerned, says Steve, but all we need is 10 or 11 wins. Great show. Take care, Julie. Thank you. How much can we spend in January? I'm not sure what the actual... I'm not 100% sure what the amount will be. In case it's just a case of wait and see. Where is your commitment, Steve? What about our podcast? Bazza, we'll do our best, mate. We'll do our best. We'll see whether the lads are up for it. Our position will dictate who we bring in. Very true. Another fabulous show. Stephen Ollie, thanks, says Dave. Brian says, thank you to all who I met on Friday. It was emotional, to say the least. I have to say that my night was made by meeting Keith Patterson, a truly lovely man. Friends always made. Here, Brian, says Dunnell. If we don't have new owners, everybody would think we're 100% down. 6 points after 12 games, you are gone. But what happens in January? Lots of interesting points coming in. I've managed to get the video loaded, Holly. It's took a bit of time, but I've got there in the end. So yesterday, Holly challenged me at the bar, the Dog and Parrot, where we do our pre-match talking, to the pasty challenge. So here it is.
She thinks my food taste is awful. I've never met anyone with food taste like this, by the way. So, has anyone been to Milligan's Vegas? Put your hands over your heart. Okay, Milligan's Vegas. Okay, so they do a pasty, and it's called a kebab and chili pasty. Has anyone had one of them?
Yes.
Yes? Okay, so I've never had one. I'm going to taste it, see what it's like. So does anybody else want to taste? I've got a little bit. See what the reaction is. Okay, Norman? Your reaction first. The texture's lovely. The texture's lovely. Can you taste the kebab? Yeah, his mouth dry as fuck. His mouth's dry as fuck, he says. Okay. Anybody else want a little bit of pasty? Come forward, come forward. There you go, kebab and chili. Anybody want to try a bit of kebab and chili pasta? Go on the bread, there you go. You've got to get in with me. Okay, this is kebab and chili. We've got one more bit left. Then I've got a neck half of it. Oh, we're sharing. Okay. It's nice. Okay. It's fucking awful, lad. Ollie? This is where we're at. So that's two votes yes, one vote no.
Nice.
We've got one more bit. Come on a bit. Try it. No, leave one bit. Okay. We have got last bit of volunteer. Okay, he's got, we'll let him chew it, eat it, swallow it. Take it a bit of time, like a saliva. That's fucking good, that. It's fucking good, that, he says. Okay, do you want a bit? Sound off, I've got to eat some. Would you like a bit?
Yeah, sure. I'm fucking clear on you, mate.
I'm going to record it. There you are, this is the last volunteer. Garlic. Chili and kebab from Milligan's. It's banging, man.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. I've never had this before. I think it's going to be absolutely amazing.
You don't like it? I don't like it. If it was warm, it'd be better. But get you an actor, but away, man. You're being a bit dramatic.
Okay, so the first bite in, right? The kebab meat is like, you can just feel it, and I'm not kebab meat fan there. I'll go open. There's no chili in it. Now I'm a chili fan.
He's got no taste at all.
Okay, I will eat it. Okay, so the scores on the doors.
Right?
What are the scores on the doors? 3-3.
No,
2-2.
it was 3-2
To what?
in favour of the pasty.
Okay, so I don't like it. So that's 3-3. Exactly the same as the score today. Well done, the ladies, for coming up with some of the original. But that is the end of the third NUFC Matters Food Challenge.
Well, we'll certainly give a little bit of entertainment.
My eyes are stinging from cry laughing. Oh my God.
The off-camera comment was great by Holly, says Mark. Jeff says we're broken all loads of food hygiene and regulations. Bigger than a Greg's pasty, unless they had more than one. It was just the one pasty. But yeah. Look,
It was just very clever tactics by you, Steve, trying to avoid it by giving it to everyone in the bloody bar. I'm surprised she even had a crumb left.
You can take the lad from felon, but you can't take the felon from the lad. What a career. High pasty review bloke. All the best, Vinny. Cheers, Nicholas, mate. It was great to see you on Friday as well. Yeah, lots of comments coming in about that. Lots of laughs. I'm glad we made you laugh. That was the whole point of it. And new show, says Derek. New pasty review with Steve and Holly. I've got to be honest, Tom. Dixon says I'll have to try one. It wasn't that bad. I do like chili, mate, and I couldn't taste any chili in it. And kebab meat, it leaves you that
That's because you
aftertaste.
gave half the chili away to people, man.
Maybe it was all in one end of the pasty. Glad I tuned in for the footy analysis, says Rob. Sorry, Rob. Are they new glasses, Holly?
No, they're not. I just usually wear contact lenses so that Steve can't make lookalikes of us for Friday's show.
No, well, I don't make the lookalikes. Other people do. Don't forget that. John says NUFC Matters cookbook in January. I tell you what. Some of the recipes we've had, we could definitely do one, that's for certain. Great show as always. I'm not sure what on earth you're going to challenge us with. I'm sure we can have a chat about that on the way to Arsenal next Saturday. What the next food challenge will be. But thanks to everybody at the Dog and Parrot.
In my head.
I bet you have. But yeah, thanks to everybody at the Dog and Parrot for that. It was a good day yesterday. And I was tucked up in bed by 9 o'clock. I didn't have a drink Friday, but I certainly made up for it yesterday before and after the game. So great stuff. Great to see everybody in the chat. Don't forget, tomorrow night, the Fans Forum will be on at 7 o'clock. It's your chance to get yourself on the show. Chris Hall and Pete Davey will be presenting as usual. I will be back on Tuesday night. Or Tuesday morning, in our new 10:30 slot with Liam Kennedy. Wednesday night will be the Retro Show where we're looking at Swindon and Oldham on the show. Thursday night, Super Mac and Gibbo, and then it'll be the Three Amigos on Friday. So as always, action-packed week. Holly, have a good one. See you bright and early on Saturday morning.
Take care. Have a good week.
Bye.
Critics attack. It feels like I've been talking to myself again.